Hi guys, Sunny's Code and welcome to another X-Plane video. This video today is all about the Dreamfoil Creations and Nemeth Designs AS350 B3 Plus. This is a new helicopter to my fleet. I am really impressed with that. It is a very difficult. It's probably the hardest helicopter I've flown in X-Plane, and I've also had to take a few steps to sort of calm it down and settle it down. Just to be able to fly it. It's still a handful. I've got a long way to go before I master this helicopter without any question of a doubt. But here we are. I've picked a New Zealand livery. We're not in New Zealand. We are actually in Scotland, in Glasgow Airport, and I'm just going to do a nice little flight for you guys. Nothing too far, nothing too drastic, from Glasgow Airport all the way out to a beautiful town on the west coast of Scotland called Oban. And we'll be crossing some highlands to do it, and it's quite a beautiful flight. It's a beautiful helicopter, inside and out, absolutely beautifully modelled. As you can see, really nice, really clean, really well thought out designed cockpits, and you've got all your pilot switches and knobs. Everything's good and clean. Right, here we are actually in the pilot's seat, and let's just fire this up. Now there is actually a procedure to fire this helicopter up. I'm not going to be following it strict. Also, I'm not doing this flight on VATSIM, so this is just a straight VFR flight, and I'm not going to bother talking to tower or anything else. I will tune into ATIS just so we have a heads up on the weather, but all the other formalities not going to be in this video for this one. This is just a nice offline pleasure flight. So DC bat down there, generator, and we're going to turn on our instrument lights and panels. Also going to power up our Garmin and our nav 2 and comms, which I actually need to put the avionics on for that. There we go. As you can see, everything lights up nicely. Also just going to chuck our rotor brake off and click this little knob here. You will not be able to start your turbine engine if that knob is down. Okay, it actually has to lock the rotor brake. Okay, coming down here we'll just get some lights on as well, some position lights. We're going to turn the fuel pump on, and we're going to put landing and taxi lights on as well, pitch trim and roll trim. Now all of these, put the pitot light on as well. All of these actually work, but they don't do anything, if that makes sense. Like, you can click them, but I don't actually have a sand filter. I don't actually have the crank for the winch or anything else, so they're just modelled in, but they're not actually functional. We'll cage our attitude indicator, and just have a look at all the panels up here. Now in this little corner here, Dreamfoil Creations like to do their little wheel, and you've got quick views in there. There's the equipment I'm talking about: right baskets, medical, night vision flare, hoist, winch, mirrors, wire cutters and doors. Also, you've got a GPU if you want it. I think it's just out there. Yep, there it is, a little generator if you need it. And then you can put the EPU on there as well, and it would run from the EPU. Okay, or GPU, ground power unit. Okay, just toggle it off for the time being. Smart livery. Here's a ton of liveries that you can choose from on the fly. Really nice way to change them rather than have to go into the X-Plane menu. A couple of those I downloaded as extras, but we're going to fly the New Zealander Black, I think. And there's a spotlight, and this here is arcade mode. Now when I first got the helicopter, I really struggled to fly it. Like I said, really struggled. I'm just going to say that if you get this, it's worth actually sticking arcade mode on for your first few flights, just so you get an idea. It's still kind of a nice challenging helicopter to fly, but without this on, or without any of your joystick curves put in, it's a real handful. I had everything on 0% and it was just totally unmanageable. And I looked online, people were actually removing springs out of the joysticks and stuff just to be able to fly this helicopter. I'm not prepared to do that, so I just dialed mine down by making my curve on the joystick not linear and just softened it up around dead stick. So, okay, let's get going. Let's get this heli started up. Right down here you'll see you've got the rudder pedals all moving, and here we can't move our stick at all, so we're just going to take that friction lock off and we can move the stick nicely now. That's good. Okay, and final checks of everything here. Just going to uncage my joystick so I can control throttle, and collective you need to release here. You can do that, but we'll click that switch back on. Up there is where you start the engine, turbine. I've actually got it mapped to my joystick, so I can actually look at the NG and watch temperature increase. So I'm going to do that now. Let's get this bird started. NG's rising, probably at about 20%. I will let go. 600, 700, and let go. We're firing up. There we go. And temperature's coming back down and settling. Perfect. ATIS for Glasgow Airport's 129575, 12957. I just need to flick over and we'll have a little listen then.
Information Kilo 1500 Zulu weather. Wind 070 at 10. Visibility 10. Sky clear. Temperature 14. Dew point 0. Altimeter 2992. Arriving and departing runway 05. Advise on initial contact you have Kilo.
Okay, so we've got 2992 on the altimeter, runway 05 for takeoff, and Kilo information. Not that we're going to be using it. 299, and I'd say that's about 2. Lovely. And for the nav, we are heading. Let's kill that. Change of concept. There we go. And for our VLOC, 110.55, I believe is what we need. 55. Yeah, that's fine. 110.55. That's Oban itself. And we want to put our heading bug to, let's see, 320 degrees for 48 miles. Okay, I'm pretty much set and ready to go. We've got a hell of a crosswind in from the left, so I'm just going to trim the helicopter to the left a bit so we don't go crazy. You'll see the minute this comes off, it is highly unstable. I'm still getting very used to it. So let's throttle up, and we can put a horn on now, and that should go out. There's the horn out. Final checks for everything. We can click that off now. There we go. That's our collective lock. That's free. Added. Don't need that. Deny. We'll head our bug to 400 feet off the ground for radar altitude warning. Okay. Oh, the sounds of this helicopter are just absolutely stunning. Let's get going then. It's oh, you have to be very careful and slow raising the collective in this helicopter. As you can see, she's up, and we're just going to spin around. And get our nose forward. We're actually going to taxi out here by this black path runway. Now this helicopter is really taking me a long time to get used to. I mean, it really does take a long time. The slightest of movements and the wind pushing me right there really makes this helicopter hard to fly. There we go. And 0.5 for takeoff. So I'm actually going to have to taxi down in a bit of a tailwind here, which is pretty horrible. There we go. See, it really does get affected by wind quite a lot, this helicopter. And you just continuously have to try and stay on top of it. I'm not very sure of the layout of Glasgow, but I think we go all the way down the end. I think there's a half ramp we could go on and start our journey. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, when you're first flying this, it just feels like jello. Feels like complete jello. We're going to take this. This is the halfway ramp I was on about. And getting used to it really just takes a bit of time. But what I've noticed is this helicopter likes to bully you. It really likes to bully you. And the only way to overcome that is by you bullying it. If you're on top of it and sort of ahead of it, you can really bully the helicopter, and then it just starts doing amazing things. Really amazing things. We're caught in a crosswind there. Okay, I'm just going to power up and get us going. Gonna head off to the left, not to the right. Where am I going? Already lost. Once your airspeed sort of comes alive above 40-50 knots, you can sort of ease off on the rudder, the anti-torque. And from that moment on, your flying becomes a lot more of a pleasurable experience. Just trying to get the airspeed up really does mean that you just have to plow on, get some collective on and get that nose down. Right, now across the river, we're going to bank out to the left and head on our bearing of 321 towards Oban. All these lovely views that we've got here. We're nailing it. Here we are. That's coastal waters. Let's get our altitude up. Something else I noticed the other day is the minute you over-torque your engine or your rotor in this, you end up in a world of trouble. This helicopter is fragile. It really doesn't respond well to being mistreated or pushed outside its standard parameters, and it bites you very, very quickly. So you've got to be very careful and soft for the helicopter, but at the same time, like I said, you've got to bully it into what you want it to do. So you just got to be thinking ahead, looking ahead, and it becomes a very, very rewarding helicopter to fly. I'm really chuffed with that, really chuffed with that. I've got the Bell 407 by Dreamfoil Creations. I love that helicopter as well, but it doesn't make me want to do loads of helicopter flights. Where this is a helicopter, if you like being hands-on and you really like having to muscle and fly an airframe, then this is probably the helicopter for you. If you like just to chill out and sort of set a destination and occasionally put some stick inputs in and just enjoy the scenery, then this helicopter probably isn't for you. Unless you flew it in arcade mode, then you could probably get some benefit out of it, but really and truly it's a really hands-on helicopter to fly. Yeah, in DCS I fly the Gazelle, I also fly the Huey UH-1, and this is a more difficult helicopter to fly, without any question of a doubt. Take the tiniest bit of collective off, your nose dives in this helicopter. And you find yourself really having to wrestle to get it up. Oh, I love that. Graphics pigging in nicely now. Great helicopter this. Let's take it down over the roads, shall we? Such a joy to fly this helicopter, it really is. And somewhere around here should be Oban, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we're far from that. If you got the money, you want to buy a good heli that's going to challenge you and continue to challenge you and just keep you on your toes, this is the helicopter I recommend. I, without any question of a doubt, think it's the best helicopter in X-Plane right now. I'm very partial to the Bell 407. I love the Bell 407 as well. I think that's a really well modelled, done aircraft. But this has just got that engagement that none of the other helis seem to have for me. So somewhere around here. Let's have a bit of fun around the airport, shall we? doesn't look busy. And let's really play with the helicopter, see what we can get away with. Fantastic. Not that I would keep my helicopter license for long if I did this in real life. Oh, disappearing cars. Amazing. Oh, quite a bit of stress on the old engine there. Right, let's take this puppy into land. We've had our fun. And we've got a tailwind, so we're just going to take it round. And just get ready to pick it up on the anti-torque. It kicks in. Oh god, it's a fight. Got a hell of a tailwind here. So we're just going to spin it around a bit. There we go. I'm really fighting the anti-torque here. Oh, and we're down. There we go. Super duper nice.